Nicole Kali, Brew Crew is thrilled that friend and guest Jay Lamal can join our 20th Brew Talk.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm excited. How about that? I'm excited. I mean, this is like one of those things that's been such a long time coming. I've just been excited to be connected with such great people that are the Black Rockers United, and just even similar groups. Yeah, it's so dope. It's been great getting to know you and getting to know everybody that's been involved.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. It's great to be connected, and it's definitely the season to get together and solidarity, whether it's Kwanzaa or a different holiday or
Yes.
whatever you celebrate. It's a nice time.
Yeah, I celebrate all of them. Whoever got drinks and food, no, just playing. No,
You're so cool, Jay.
I love it all.
So, what has life been like for you lately?
Okay, so I mean, obviously we've been in this pandemic, and I think that the name of the game right now for me is maybe reinvention and creativity. Trying to find ways to be able to make money and survive um, without the comfort of being able to gig like every week. I'm one of those musicians that I guess I'm pretty diverse, and I think that's like my whole gimmick, so to speak. Because I play like piano and drums and other instruments, but I'm I'm as easily able to play for a church service or like a death metal concert or anything in between. The last 2 years, maybe I've been doing like a bunch of wedding receptions with a band called Diamond Empire Band, and
Mm.
this year, of course, like we started off the year with gigs, and then all of a sudden March hit, and that was, of course, peak season when things start. People starting to get married, and of course,
Oh.
everything's shut down. So we've only done, I think, one wedding and then one gig at Breonna Square, and we'll talk about that later. And that's all we've done like since March, which is like by this time we will have done about 50 gigs or so. Okay, maybe not 50, but yeah, maybe close to that. At least the organization, whether or not I'm on all of them or not. So trying to find ways to reinvent myself. Um, I would say been doing a lot of studio work. Been doing a lot of let's see what else have I been doing. I've been writing music for people, a lot of commission work. Um, I've gotten back into my social work bag a little bit, working with special needs adults, and so it's a few things, and just like I said, just finding my way to navigate. And I think one other thing that's been important to me is helping others to also find their way and do things. So I've been trying to support people too, and also help people to find work. Mhm.
Yeah, I feel you. That's why I'm really proud of you and the opportunity to share this joy and realness and artivism experience.
Oh,
Yeah. As you know, it's been pretty hard during the pandemic for us personally.
mhm.
For me, like it's my elder. For you, it's the younger generation that you've been grappling with. So, how do you feel, I guess, about getting through this pandemic in terms of the Black community?
Yo, I think that I would say the short answer, like as far as getting through it, I think that finding ways to address our issues as a whole, and I would also say just finding ways to help each other, I think has been key. Um, One of the biggest things that 2020 I think has taught us is that we have a lot of enemies and we have a lot of people that don't care about the plight of black people in this country, and a lot of people have shown
Mm.
their ass, so to speak,
Yeah.
more than we have seen in previous years. I mean, we've seen it in previous years, but I think this year
Mm-hmm.
has been one of those years where people have drawn the line, you know, in ways that have, it's just been either or. So I think that black people have had to also draw that line, and we have some black people that have definitely taken the side of like say Donald Trump or whatever, and then we have a lot of black people I think I've seen this year that have really taken a big ADOS stand or Black Lives Matter stand or maybe even some other thing. But like I said, I think that survival for black people has definitely been about community, finding ways to do that. Thankfully, we've had social media. And
Yeah.
social media has been a great way to stay connected. I think, of course, we're both of us are friends with a whole lot of people, and we see a lot of people just supporting each other. One of the things I will say is that it's been really cool to see, like a bunch of people that have taken on the role of organizers, so to speak.
Yeah.
And those people, they'll post, okay, there's like, just giving an example, like there's a young lady she's 20 and she's about to get kicked out of her apartment. Can y'all cash at me and help her out? Like I've seen a bunch of that kind of stuff this year. Or like, there's a transgender person that's been kicked out of the home, or is homeless for a while, or needs like their bills, like some bills paid, or needs to get some insulin or something. Can y'all cash at me? So I've seen some of that too, and it's been really cool. I mean, because obviously when you're younger, teenager and 20, and especially if you're in a situation where you're transgender or something.
Absolutely.
And you have people that are like already so against you, just for how you feel or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And seeing people that want to help each other out in those situations, and a lot of it, like regardless of how you feel about the situation, just being like, hey, I have resources, and if nothing else, if it's $10, $5, I want to make sure that you're not on the street. Those kind of things are important. Even having those conversations about abuse and stuff have been great this year too, for young people.
For young people,
and also just learning about voting, like whether you do or not. I've seen a lot of people that have just gotten more into politics. I think that seeing the Black Lives Matter situation happen and seeing so many people mobilize with that are young, and I think it's helped a lot of people to say, okay, my country, whether it be America, and I think the other people were connected with it, like people in Great Britain and Scotland and stuff, like, we don't want this foolishness for our countries anymore. So we're going to do what we can to mobilize. So all of that is I think, the way forward.
Black Lives Matter.
That's right.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter,
So rest in peace, Breonna Taylor. And now there's a Breonna Taylor Square.
Yes. Oh my God. So I'll talk about that real quick, I guess. So there's this place called Jefferson Square. Yeah. And there was obviously after everything happened, Breonna actually died a couple of days after my birthday, March the 12th. And after that, like, I just remember, because I have a couple of friends that are friends with her, and, a couple of people posted stats or whatever, but it was totally ignored in a lot of ways, or swept under the rug, because Kent Walker got arrested, and I think they had arrested him for murder and stuff. And so the word didn't really get out. Like, it was just like one of those cases where they were just painting him as a big criminal and stuff. And finally, a little bit over 2 months later, the truth finally came out. And that sent people into, of course, a frenzy and a protest and thing. And it was so beautiful to see that all over the world. But the center of these protests, of course, was in Louisville. There's a courthouse. And I guess I'll say it's the main courthouse for the city. And there's this nice sized park that is right in front of the courthouse. Okay. And I promise you, like, people set up all kind of artwork, like, within the square, and just like flowers, and I mean, just all kind of things to honor Breonna. And I think it was one of the Metro Council people that renamed the square. It was called Jefferson Square. Forget Jefferson.
Yeah, no Jefferson.
No, so they renamed it Breonna Square. And a lot of the protesters also called it Injustice Square, because, like I said, it's right across the street from a courthouse. And, of course, in that courthouse, I've been in a whole lot of cases. I've been there before. There's a lot of cases that go down there, and a lot of it is just foolishness. Yeah. But yes, there have been concerts. I mean, like, you talking about, there's like a stage area over there. So people have been doing concerts and just all kind of stuff there.
Wow. How do you feel about that?
Yo, I think it's really dope, honestly, because it's actually been like as many marches as there have been, and there were definitely, as far as just active marches, 150 consecutive days of marching, where it would start like maybe on First Street or like right before First Street. So the square is actually on 6th Street, and so there's an area of town called Nulu, which stands for New Louisville. And so the protest will start there. So that's probably about 9 blocks away from Breonna Square. So people would start there, or they would even start like downtown. They would start different locations, but the general location where everybody would meet up at the end of it all, or at the beginning of it all, would be Breonna Square. And there's one other spot that's the waterfront. Concerts and just different events, just at both of those spots. They, after the 150th protest, they moved a lot of memorabilia to, a different spot.
Okay.
And I may do a video soon about the spot that they got moved to. But like I said, I think that having that central location was very key in keeping people organized, keeping people mobilized. Okay. So even though people aren't as active now doing it, and I'm sure the winter and stuff, I hope that this is just the beginning. I hope that people will keep fighting for that change, fighting to see things be better, whether it be defunding the police or whether it be just totally holding them accountable, whether it be us, fixing up our own communities in whatever way.
For sure. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her for sure.
I know, it's crazy. Like I said, I was a mentor to one of her best friends. It was like one of her best friends and her boyfriend, and they have a child together.
Yeah.
He died a couple of years ago. Very sad situation.
Shame.
He died, I guess.
My condolences.
Yeah, he was like early 20s or whatever, and it's just But yeah, so she's been around. So of course I don't really keep up with her that much, but we're definitely Facebook friends. But I used to go over there a lot while he was alive, for sure. And like I said, she's the one that I would say that I saw the post from first about Breonna Taylor dying, and she's definitely been very consistent with keeping Breonna's name alive, along with some others. She didn't speak, but she was in that group of Breonna's friends that have been in a couple of like documentaries about Breonna. Like they're all hanging out in this area called the Falls of the Ohio and just talking, or the waterfront, talking about Breonna's life and stuff. So I guess for probably 2 reasons I won't call her name or whatever, but her picture was my profile picture for a while, like a picture of her and Breonna. Yeah.
Everyone sends love and respect to the community, because I don't want people to just forget and let it fade into the background.
No, we cannot forget, because the moment we forget, it's kind of like any abuse. Yeah. Like the moment we forget or the moment we ignore anything, that just sets up people, more people to do it. People have to be held accountable at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that we all like make mistakes or whatever, but I think that people have to be accountable.
Yeah, people. Exactly.
Even if it's like being a bully of people or hitting on women or whatever, like people need to know that there are consequences to that kind of thing. There have to be consequences, or otherwise, things are just gonna be out of control. We don't need that.
Yeah, we need more balance, and we need to know that our lives matter.
That's right. Your life matters.
Your life matters as well.
For real.
Yeah.
This work that y'all doing, I just think about like the next generation, for example, because I know the generation, our generation and people, I would say people that are like, teens and 20s and stuff and 30s, like stuff that we've gone through, maybe even 40s or whatever, but the stuff people have gone through that have, come up listening to alternative music or rock music or metal or whatever that have been Black. It's like we're getting the BS from like Black folk that don't understand us.
Yeah. And
we're getting BS from the white folk that don't care for us anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we started it all. All of American culture has all been Black Americans.
Yeah, that's real, especially in Kentucky.
So there's just no other way around it. But sometimes I think looking towards the next big thing, because I think that a lot of Black culture does is definitely gravitates towards what young people are doing. So like even with hip hop, even like hip hop that was around like maybe 20 years ago, like let's just say like DMX or Busta Rhymes, or
I was just thinking about Busta Rhymes.
or 30 years ago, like LL Cool J or whatever, like people like that. People because they aren't young anymore, people just kind of like push them to the side.
I
And
know.
now all they want to do is listen to artists that are, in their 20s still, or early 30s at the very most. I mean, Nicki Minaj got about 2 more years to be relevant, according to some of these, younger people. It's all about, obviously, Cardi right now. Cardi got about 5 years, and then it's a wrap for her.
I know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it sucks,
It
because
does suck. It's terrible.
we have to find ways to preserve our culture, respect our culture, and cultivate it regardless, because the way that people are gravitating towards, let's just say, I mean, I hate to use the term mumble rap or anything like that, but just some of these younger artists that are out that are like 18 or 24 or whatever, the way they gravitate towards them and then act like if you're 35 or whatever and trying to do hip hop, like you can't do that. That just opens up the door for corporations that don't care about Black culture to basically take advantage of that kind of situation.
Oh.
And that's what they'll do. They'll focus all their money on marketing, that kind of stuff. And I mean, I'm in the recording academy, but I mean, I just think about like that's the kind of stuff they'll push on the Grammys or that's whatever else. And I mean, it really contributes to culture down. And I think that's what happened with rock music.
No.
Like as soon as Bad Brains or whatever, like as soon as Bad Brains became like in their 30s and stuff, I mean, people were like, we'll just ignore them, for the most part, especially Black folk. White folk were like, yeah, this is great. And they're still legends, but for the most part, Black people abandoned a lot of the other Black artists that stuck true to punk rock or metal or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of this thing. So I think that hope, like that's my hope, like in this coming generation and whatever, I really hope that platforms like yours can serve to teach young people to preserve our culture.
Thank you. That means a lot because it's hard to get folks to care about stuff that happened before they were born.
Oh yeah,
it's very difficult. I mean, even for me, go back basically to the very beginning of when we first got here, and then several centuries before that.
Right.
Okay,
right.
that makes sense. And they're not learning like stuff in school. I mean, when's the last time you remember what you learned in school?
Right, exactly. I mean, for real, I was very fortunate for sure to have a father, and especially my father on my father's side, to trace like family lineage at least to late 1700s. I wish we could go back to Africa and trace it from there, but whatever. But we're able to trace our history back to those days. That I think was a big key in helping me to like want to learn about culture. But unfortunately, like when it came to music, the only thing I really cared about was what was current, like with hip hop and stuff, like when I was growing up. But I think that in college, I started to listen to stuff like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye, because I had a college roommate that was like an old soul for whatever reason. I'm like, dude, you were born like, saying when this music came out, Motown and stuff, like, what are you doing, man? Or even like Michael Jackson, early years, like, I think at that time I was already heavily in the neo soul. And I was like, yo, this is pretty cool. This is dope. And I could see where a lot of the music that I listened to, got its influence from. And I think it helped me out as a musician.
Nice. So those were your first few influences?
Yeah, I would say, so I grew up, my parents, of course I'm at my parents' house now, but I grew up, they only wanted to listen to gospel music because they're like real religious. So we clash with that sometimes, just like most Black alternatives do. But being religious, like they didn't want much of anything coming into the house that was so-called secular, that wasn't religious. So that would be also maybe a part of the reason why it took me so long to like listen to some of the older music or anything. Like they weren't hearing it. They're like, no. But
I get it.
I think that I understand that they didn't want like negative music, but I mean, unfortunately, we missed out on a lot of positive music also because of them just generalizing it. But whatever. My brother and sister and I, we made it through whatever. But it's just hilarious just thinking about that. And once I did discover it, of course, like I said, I was just like totally finally. But yeah, growing up, it was all gospel just about.
Okay.
And I think that actually, because of me listening to so much gospel music or like Christian music, that's probably what made me diverse, because I was so bored with. I love like the Hawkins, Walter Hawkins or Kirk Franklin or
Yeah,
whatever.
Kirk Franklin. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It made me like, okay, if I gotta find some religious music to listen to in the house, then I'm gonna have to get out of the box and try to find some stuff that's like really, something that speaks to me that isn't so fandy in it or whatever. So I
Yeah.
discovered like, some groups like Brainwash Projects. It was like a Christian rap group. It's kind of along the lines like Tribe Called Quest. Uh,
Oh, okay.
or let's see who else. Or like there was a group called Tourniquet. That's like a thrash metal group.
I
Um,
remember Tourniquet.
like I listened to Tourniquet some, and also who else? POD. You know what I'm saying? POD, who
Yeah.
of course have done music with HR from Bad Brains.
There's a bunch of like Christian rock and metal. Did you listen to Thrice?
So that's the kind of stuff that I end up listening to, and of course that helped me to be diverse, and they helped me to be able to start appreciate other music too. So I would watch like MTV videos, also like a bunch of YouTube, and just learning about a bunch of music that I didn't hear about like growing up. Now, like I said, just finding that diversity, even in Christian music, helped me to be diverse overall for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. So has it been a rewarding road as a rocker?
You know what? I want to do more. Let's put it like that. And I think that's the goal of the future. I've been working with a guy from one of those groups I grew up listening to, actually, that lives in this area. His name is Steve Kursinger. So I'm probably going to tag him when this is over. We did a song together called No Justice, No Peace that should be out soon. And we're going to, I don't know what we're going to do with the song, but I mean, I'm ready for that to come out, just because I think it's probably the first time on a song that I pretty much was able to like scream my lungs out, and it'd be like a real legit song done with other people. Like I did a couple of EPs back in the day, and I mean back in the day just meaning like maybe 10 years ago, or I was just like death metal, or actually okay, like one of them was before, like maybe 5 years ago. But like death metal, like that's what I listened to like growing up too. You know what I'm saying? So when I decided to do that, I did that. But most of that was like keyboard stuff. I played live drums and some stuff, but I didn't know how to play guitar. I just did what I could, with my little budget, and put out a couple of things. The live shows were crazy. We did a couple of live shows, but that's what I want to do next. Like just as many live shows as possible. As soon as things open back up, I really want to be able to get a solid band together and play. But as a, I would say my biggest success with rock right now is just studio work. And there's a band called Crown and Sorrow that I did a small keyboard cameo on. There's a band called Monotheist that I did some keyboard work on, like keyboard solo or whatever. That's like having that happen, I think is a big step. And also I'm working on a tribute project for a band called Mortification, whose lead singer has been dealing with cancer for years. So hopefully that comes out soon. I did a couple of songs on there that are like, they're a death metal band, but the songs that I did on there, like I did one song that's like straight bluesy and soulful, and I turned this like almost death metal song, thrash metal song, into like a gospel quartet type of song. It's so funny, but I guess it's like, of course when you see this interview, people see the tag for like maybe jazz, soul, metal, or whatever, and I try to incorporate all of that into like everything that I do, so I think people will hear those kind of influences in everything. So even if I'm doing neo soul, there's an artist I worked with, the first artist I ever worked with. My name is Adrienne Archie, and the first album that I worked with for her, it's totally like a neo soul and gospel album, but there's something called blast beats that are prominent in death metal, and I did a song that had like blast beats and throughout the song, and that was a lot of fun to play live because it was so different, and it actually went over well live too. But yeah, and even on her second actual album, some of my influences for that album were like 9 Inch Nails. Like I was kind of listening to 9 Inch Nails at the time, so I did one song especially that was very 9 Inch Nails, and also the Chemical Brothers. Like I listened to the Chemical Brothers a little bit while the album was going on. So there's like a direct 9 Inch Nails influence on one of the songs, and there's a direct Chemical Brothers influence on one of the songs. So, awesome. So I'm really incorporating that. Or like even with Monotheist album, the song that I do, like it's a death metal album, but the song that I'm on is very jazzy. So, it's like taking all those influences and definitely weaving them in together. I don't know if it's like creating new genres or just expanding what's already there. I don't know, but I hope that it's the future. And I hope that people are able to, to experience it and find ways to appreciate it.
I know that they'll enjoy.
No, yes, and you know what? Actually, what I'm looking forward to, like when that song I was talking about, you actually have a little speaking piece in there. It's really short, but you have a little speaking piece in the song. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to tag you and be like, hey, she was a part of this. So y'all look out for that. Hopefully the day will come soon. We get to do like full collabs and just do songs. I do have a band in my mind right now, and hopefully I'll start writing songs for them like as soon as this protest music comes out. And the subject matter I want to address is definitely like different abuse and overcoming abuse. And part of the stories will be horror story versions of basically the spirits of the dead coming back, basically that, slaves, especially female slaves that were, and just coming back as like zombies and vampires and stuff. So kind of wild, but there will be just a lot of social commentary. So it's like writing a musical novel. So that's like something I've been like kind of dreaming about for maybe the last year and a half. So I'm looking forward to things open up so the band members can get together and do stuff, and so that I can travel and work with some like you and others, and just bring my vision to life.
Hopefully the pandemic figure it out soon.
Yes, right? Yes.
Not sure what's going to happen in the future, but hopefully it's going to be awesome, and I know that we're going to be musical for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay.
I think about Flora. She had her birthday show recently.
Birthday show! Happy birthday, Flora!
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to be there. Like I want to be there with people like that are like they're just keeping hardcore alive, and I just appreciate the fact that they're she and others like the 1865 and just other groups that are really showing their African roots and also bringing that into hardcore.
Yeah.
And just teaching people that how much we have been innovators and stuff. Like I mean, I love stuff like that. And finding, like I said, finding this community is it's just beautiful to me. It's just beautiful. And I know it's funny. I'm being talkative. I know it's an interview. I'm being talkative, but I'm just excited to see Black people really just embracing this music and hoping to influence the next generation. In the way it should be.
I completely agree, yo. I can't say it any better than you can. Is there anything you're looking forward to for next year?
You know what? Like I said, besides that, I mean, I'm looking forward to coming up and seeing y'all, the people in you and people in your area, and in New York, in Philly. So yeah, maybe traveling. That's it. I would say traveling, especially. I'm looking forward to putting out music. I mean, for real. I think that I'm very thankful to be successful with what I'm doing now and still have a place to lay my head and, family to call my own. But the road is calling, what I'm saying, and activism is calling. And just enjoying life is calling. So, in different ways than just sitting up in the house.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, we got much love for you, Jay.
Oh, and I have much love for y'all, like, for real. I mean, I just want to say, like, to everybody, keep up the conversations, you know what I'm saying? And keep up the activism, keep up combating abuse. Keep rock Black, how about that? Bring Black people to metal, bring Black people, keep hardcore Black. And I love all kinds of stuff, I love other music, and I love, all of my white friends and all of my Asian friends and whoever. I think that, like I said, just with the way the culture goes, and so many of us tend to gravitate towards what's happening now, like what's current, and that's it, and trends,
Yeah.
Keeping that history going, because, American history is our history, like, and it's always been, no matter what they throw at us, we always gonna make lemonade out of lemons, That's all it is to it. And, we're gonna succeed and we're gonna prevail. But I think taking that power and keeping that power, I mean, that's the key to the future. You know, it's like having a house. You know what I'm saying? And when you have debts or whatever, saying you decide to, sell your house or whatever in order to pay some bills. In a lot of ways, unless that house is like totally torn down, it almost doesn't make sense, yo. Like you have to build up your network somehow, and you have to have some things to say are your own instead of just totally giving money to people and never have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way it is with music too. Like you gotta be able to have music that you have something to show for it instead of just chasing after, whatever. I was trying to think of an artist like right now, like the Baby or somebody, nothing against him.
I get it.
But yeah, preserve all of our culture, not just a little bit of it, especially rock. Preserve it.
Exactly. Yes, stay black and stay punk and safe, okay?
That's right. Yeah, heck yeah, yo. Like much love. It's all love. As you can see in this interview, it's so much love, and we need more of that too. Spread love,
Yeah.
Support black people. Support black women, for sure. Let respect and honor each other, yo. Like for real. Don't be on no BS, yo. Love.
That is so cute.
That's what's gonna bring us through. Also, just love people, yo. I promise.
Absolutely.
Virtual hugs to like everybody.
Virtual hugs for everybody.
For real.
All right. I'll catch you on the flip side, my friend.
Yes. Take care of yourself.
You take care of yourself out there.
All right. Yes.
Black Rockers United.